Hey everybody, it's Luke with Figure Me Out, and today we've got the Marvel Legends Loki from the Avengers Endgame Wave 2 of action figures. Looking at the box here, we've got the front. On the side we have a nice picture of Loki, and on the other side we have the same picture but flipped. There's a read-up on the back. If you want to read that, go ahead and give it a pause now. It's talking about Loki being a trickster. And then on the top we've got Loki symbol, which is really neat. That's kind of fun. And then on the bottom we've got some jibber jabber. So let's go ahead and crack this guy open and take him over to the light box. And here we are on the light box, and taking a look first, we've got the Build-A-Figure piece that this came with. It's another one of those Hulk legs with the rip pants and everything. And we'll take a closer look at that later on once we get around to reviewing him. The only accessory that Loki himself comes with is this sword, and it's pretty good for the most part. It's fairly flat. There's not really any brushing or anything on that. It's just kind of the colors it was molded in, and it's got a little green dot, which is applied kind of sloppily, actually, on that one side. And on the other side it looks okay, I guess. And the yellow paint, you can see it kind of bleeding over right there as well. So not the best paint in the world, but I think that with this figure you're going to see they cut a lot of corners. Taking a look at Loki himself, and the hair has a pretty good wash on it. That looks alright. The eyes are kind of wonky on that. He almost looks like he's looking in two directions there, and maybe that's just me. Let me know in the comments below if yours is like this. Hopefully mine's the only one, but somehow I doubt that. This is a floating neck piece here, and the scale armor paint is, it's okay. It'd been nice if that was sculpted, but I get that they gotta make up their money somewhere, and reuse is a lot of what they do at Hasbro, and that's fine. The paint does stop whenever you get to the chest. Whenever you pull it back, it is not painted all the way through, but it does go pretty much as far as the articulation does, so that's okay. Taking a look at the bottom of the picture, the bottom of the figure, excuse me, no real paint. This is all just kind of molded plastic. So we do have the numbers on the back there. Peg holes at the bottom of the feet, and there's a little bit of that marbling kind of effect going. I know I've seen some people talk about that before, and there's a lot of that going on with the gold in this figure. Anyway, let's take him out of the box here and take a closer look at the articulation. Here's Loki out of the light box, and taking a look at the articulation here. I'm going to go ahead and set the accessory off to the side. But looking at articulation, unfortunately his head kind of has this weird kind of sitting a little too high on the neck, I think, because you can kind of see a little bit of gapping, and you can see the ball up in there. It does, lend for a lot of articulation. You can get him looking up, pretty good. You can get him looking down really good. And then you can get a full rotation there, and you do get a lot of pivot, but it doesn't really want to stay there sometimes, and it is kind of almost too much, if that makes sense. Like I said, you can see that head sitting really high on there. It's like they just said, okay, what body can we throw this head on? That one, it's fine. I think it's the Grim Reaper body. Was the first time we saw it. So anyway, so that's the head. This is a floating neck piece. You can take that off if you want to. You can pop the head off. It pops off fairly easily. I say that. So continuing to look at the figure, we got the shoulders. No surprise, you've seen this body before. They go out about that far. They rotate all the way around. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbow comes in pretty good. Wrists are hinged to go back and forward, and they do rotate all the way around, which is good. Have an ab crunch, which goes forward about that far and goes back, pretty good actually. We do have a waist swivel there, which is nice. The hips, I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but I think I may have just broken the hips. Hopefully not. Anyway, the hips go out. Did I? Anyway, the belt is a floating piece, so you can kind of get that out of the way. The hips come out, about that far. Not great. They go forward really good. Go back, not so much. You do have an upper thigh swivel. You've got a double jointed knee that comes in pretty good. There is a boot cut, so thanks for that. And then we've got ankles that go down really well. They go up really well. And they have a crazy ankle rocker pivot. For a size comparison, here he is next to a few of the Thor figures. We've got the Marvel Now Thor there on the left, the Marvel Select Thor here to our right, and then the MCU Thor from Infinity War there on the far right. And I think you could scale really, I mean, either way. Both these Thors are fairly large. I think that you could kind of fit him in on either of those shelves if you want to. Here he is next to a few other Loki figures, and as you can see, we've got the Toy Biz over here. We've got the Infinity War one right here, and the Ragnarok Wave Loki here. And out of all these Lokis, this is definitely the poorest offering. Finally, here he is next to the Mezco 1/12 Classic Iron Man, and then on the right there, we've got the Beta Ray Bill from this same wave. So that's him. That's comic-based Loki, and you know, I don't think this is a terrible figure. It's not the worst thing they've ever done. Definitely not the best thing either. A little bit more sculpt, a little bit more paint. Uncross his eyes, and he probably would have been okay. But he's definitely gonna be going in a bin for me. I'm not gonna be having this guy out on the shelf. I'm probably gonna use that old Toy Biz Loki if I ever decide to do a comic Asgardian shelf. But I don't see that in the future either, because I'm not a huge Thor guy. But anyway. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment, give me a like, hit subscribe if you really like this, want to see the rest of this wave, and you can check out some of the other videos. We've got a couple more left in this. In the meantime, go ahead and check me out over on Instagram at Luke_figuremeout at Instagram.com. And in the meantime, happy collecting.